Why don't you go see your boyfriend?
Yeah, he got a nice room. You won't have it long. He left a call for 7 a.m.
See if we can figure out something.
Listen to a plan.
Hi. Oh, that's weird. The circle is super weird. What a way to start. I tested out StreamYard's new layout and it made the circle really odd. Hey, Laura. It's been a while, hey? Like, it's kind of been not streaming as much. I have been super busy and I haven't got my setup properly right now. I am going to have to do this a little bit like higgledy-piggledy. But I'm gonna put on something for us to watch in the meantime while people join and while I get my iPad connected and all of that. I'm just picking where I'm going to go. 5 minutes, that's not gonna do. I had something, but I can't tell if the judge is there. And I don't have any audio on my laptop just this minute, so it might have to be like a let me know situation. You know where I can go? Judge Simpson. Hey, Sim. Okay, we are going to be a little bit delayed in that trial, but I wanted to start it while I organize this. Please will be thanks. I think we might currently be modless.
Yeah.
All right. 14A District Court for County of Washington, State of Michigan is now back in session. Honorable Judge David Simpson presiding.
You may be seated. Sorry.
These are all in custody.
Okay.
She just stepped out.
Court does call the case of People versus the Violence in Gibson.
Good morning, or it's afternoon. Good afternoon, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perny on behalf of Mr. Gibson. Mr. Gibson, please state your name.
Devonta Gibson, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your Honor, we did review the pre-sentence reports. We have no changes to those. As per the sentence recommendation, I would like to address that, particularly on the felony case and the OWI case, which would the recommendation would keep Mr. Gibson in custody. We are asking for a probationary sentence. I did file a sentencing memorandum on all 4 cases. As well as, there's some information in the bond motion that was filed a few weeks ago with additional information, but I did want to further make a record regarding these cases. I mean, Mr. Gibson has had a lot going on. That I did want to point out that they're all from 2021. He did turn himself in back in March on these warrants, and to get them resolved, which he has since done. Since being released from Wayne County Jail, he resolved all of his warrants in other counties as well, including Wayne County and Monroe County. He was recently sentenced to probation on a retail fraud first in Monroe, and he has 2 in Wayne County that his, I suppose the possible plea is probation on those cases as well. I also want to know his health issues. He does have severe sleep apnea, diabetes, hypertension. He sleeps with a machine that was broken in jail, and since being in custody, he did miss his sleep study. He would like to get out of custody and see his doctors. He did turn himself in on the bond violation 4 weeks ago. I think it's been exactly 4 weeks today. At the order of the court and my recommendation on that bond violation. And that's the second time this year he's turned himself in on warrants, which we don't always see in this court, of course. He's been in for a significant time, I think 135 days at this point on these files. When the brief time that he was out, he got enrolled in school. He's supposed to be in school right now in an online college, but he obviously can't go to school while in custody. He also has a catering business that he's running, and is getting an LLC and all of that paperwork together. Additionally, he has 4 children that he cares for, one that he is very involved in because the child himself is in a juvenile proceeding, and Mr. Gibson has kind of been appointed, not only his guardian, his parent, but also his guardian in that case, to make sure that he's doing what he needs to do. I did speak with his wife today, who is here and would like to speak to the court if possible. She mentioned to me that she's scheduled to get hernia surgery, but can't do it due to Mr. Gibson's incarceration and the children. Someone needs to take care of the kids. So we're asking for the court to consider either a time served sentence or a probationary sentence due to all of that.
Right. Is there anything you'd like to say, sir, before I impose that?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to apologize to the community for these crimes, and I do want to say I was embarrassed by this, which I should be, and I embarrassed my family. But the person that I was when things happened, I'm not the same person anymore. And I just I'm at a loss for words. It's hard to speak from the way I'm feeling. I've been involved. I'm more involved into the community. I see things different than I do when I was using real bad. I'm more concerned with what I can do for my family and be I don't know I'm missing the word integrity. Going to work, doing it the right way. I'm trying to set an example for my 17-year-old son, also my 7 and 8-year-old. So that's what I've been doing. I just recently volunteered before I came in here. It was a back to school program. I volunteered to cut all the kids hair at my son's school. I do that in the community that I stay. I fix bikes for the little kids, trying to be an example, things that I didn't do then. But I say that to say that I'm a different person than the person that from 2020, 2021.
All right. If he steps back, I'll hear from her. Yes, what's your name?
Margaret Parker.
All right, what did you want to tell me?
I just want to say, I've seen a change in Devontae tremendously. Like, if he was doing wrong, I tell you, take him. Because the stuff I done been through in the last 5 years with him, and we've been together for 10, I'm about ready to leave him. But he actually has made a turnaround in the last 2 years. The drinking, the driving, the being more involved with his boys, the staying out of trouble, not catching no more charges. Just trying to stay out the way. And I've noticed that, and that's why I've stuck around for the last year, because the last 5 years, it's been rough. It's been rough with the alcohol. His boys miss him. I miss him. His mom is in Alabama. She calls every day. She misses him. I'm supposed to have this hernia surgery on October 6th, and it's been put off over and over and over again because of Mr. Gibson's decisions. And I just want to get it done because this hernia is just so big in my stomach. If he's incarcerated, my kids have nowhere to go. His mom is in Alabama. My mom, she's not relying on anybody else. It's just us. He has helped at the community. We just helped the school give out free haircuts to the school boys and things like that. I don't know what else to say. We miss him. He has been doing good. That situation with the violation with the tether thing, he has not tampered. He has not drank. He's literally turned around. He had 2 of the things on his leg and he got one off. And he was working to get the other one off. And we just trying. We just started an LLC. It's actually in my name. We're trying to get it going. I don't have a record. I tell him every day, this is stupid. We shouldn't be in here. We don't have the money. We don't have the time. His 17-year-old, as his lawyer stated, he's in juvenile court with Miss, what's her name? With Audenberg, if you're familiar with her. They've been calling me because his son has been a little bit unruly, being that, he's not around to control things. He actually has a GPS tether on. He's supposed to be at my house, but I can't control a 17-year-old that's bigger than me. I can't do anything about that. So he's been, probably getting in trouble, and he needs Mr. Gibson out here and the courts so they can figure out what they're going to do with Devin. His mom doesn't have custody, so they can't call her. He has legal custody. It's just a mess. And if you could just consider trying to, if we need outpatient treatment, you want him to go, we will go. If you want him to go to community corrections and drop on top of the tether on his leg, the alcohol thing, we will do it. Like the last court, you told him don't play with you. He did not. And that's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Polaro, was there something?
Yes, Your Honor. I just wanted the court to know, Mr. Gibson did complete the PSI with me. That was back early in August. The reason probation is providing the jail recommendations today on his cases is when when I did the PSI with him back in early August, his sentencing technically was at the end of August. That got pushed back due to a change in the court calendar. When I completed the PSI with him on August 2nd, I was quite clear with him that he needed to get his alcohol screening and assessment done for the alcohol case. And he hasn't done it. He hasn't followed through with that. And then he had the bond violation from community corrections with the tampers, and I looked at what happened when he was in court with that, and I believe he pled no contest for those. So anytime that there's a tamper, especially for those long periods of time, it does lead you to believe that there's continued drinking. Therefore, that's why probation provided the jail recommendations. So the court could be aware and know that he would get the programming.
All right. How long does the MRT program in jail take?
The MRT, I believe it's 6 weeks. I can verify that, Your Honor.
It depends on if they go on lockdown, then they don't have the class, and that's, yeah, why it can vary. Mr. Gibson wanted to indicate one more thing to the court.
Just quickly, Your Honor, I did want to say I did still have plans to do that class. I had plenty of time to still do it. I did speak with Mr. Risa at the end of August. I turned myself, I turned myself in September 2nd. I did have plans to do it that week. I was just getting the money, not being employed at the time. I had to do what I had to do to have the money because the class does cost. And if you don't mind taking in consideration, I'm not sure how this works, but I know the fall teacher was below the normal reading, and then the next day it was above the normal reading. I didn't want to waste the course time or try to push this any farther than it had to go. So I want to just go ahead and take care of that.
All right. Well, I'll tell you something, Mr. Gibson. I think the issue really for me is, as it is for your wife, is you just got to stop drinking. Because the cold reality is, certainly we could go into all the details regarding the tether, everything else, but if you really stop drinking, nobody has to worry about that. But for you to do that, you got to stand up, you got to take your part, you got to do what you got to do. And the problem is you haven't been doing that. I realize some of the good things that you say you're doing, but just got to do the right thing. You had all these people dependent on you. You just got to do the right thing. And say this to you, man to man, yeah, stop being selfish.
I
Because
understand, yeah.
the reality when you're doing all that, you're only thinking about you. You gotta stop that. Case ending in 22, sentence of the court, $125 statutory fees, 93 days in jail, credit 93 served. On the matter ending in 0357, $125 statutory fee, $599 restitution of Sam's Club payable through the court, and to be payable 60 days from release. I'll make it 90 days from release. Order 93 days in jail, credit 93 days served on that case. Case ending in the 0355. And I'll just tell you this, Mr. Gibson, I think some of the things that you're trying to do, good thing. Like I said, you got to stop drinking. You got to change your way of thinking about how you lead your entire life. Because the reality is, and this is harsh to say, but it's true. If you don't change the way that you're running your life, there's not going to be much of your life to have. And then those boys, they're not going to have anybody. I mean, they're certainly not going to have you. On that case, on count 4 on that case, there were $50 statutory fees, 90 days in jail, credit 90 served. On the OWI high BAC, and all of these are taking into account the bond violations, $125 statutory fee. I am going to order 180 days in jail, credit 35 days, the balance to be served. You are to complete the Dawn Farm in jail program as part of that sentence. The other matter This is the way I think I'm gonna do it on the last matter ending 0432. You're gonna have to earn your release. It's gonna be up to you. You could make the decision to sit there for another 200 days, or you can do the right thing, get the treatment and in jail things that are necessary, and then that are available to you, complete it, and then I'll consider your release. But you're gonna have to earn it, because up until now, you haven't been earning much of anything from it. So on the count 2 retail fraud in that case, well, yeah, I'll order $50 statutory fees, 365 days in jail, credit 135 served, defendant to serve the balance. Let me get to count 1 on that. $125 statutory fee, $1,143.82 restitution to Walmart payable through the court. That will be due, but 90 days after release. I will order in that case 365 days in jail, credit 135 days served. You're to serve the balance. You're to complete the in-jail MRT program. The court will consider release upon the completion of both the in-jail and on-farm program. That's where you're going to have to earn it. Understood?
It's understood, Your Honor.
All right. So, all right. Thank you. And did you understand that? Okay. So if he, I'm not gonna say I will release him, but I'm gonna tell you if he can do the things that can justify your faith in him with what he has, then I'll do it. All right.
Tried to have a visit with him yesterday and they denied it, so we had one Friday. They said, ask you guys, because they had all his files. And and I had a visit. Okay.
Take care. Court calls the case, people versus.
Okay, we're gonna pause there and we're gonna go over to the opening statement. So unfortunately, as older L does, day one, part 1 is removed. So we're gonna watch opening on 1, and then we're gonna hop over to day 1, part 2 on another. If day 1, part 1 comes up, please let me know, because yeah, I've tried to find it and I don't know if it's because of the body cam or what the situation is. There is like a conversation version on Court TV, but that's like them with experts. It looks like a long video, but it's not. I have been saving all of Judge Simpson's jury things. I have so many trials for us to watch once I'm able to be back to it. I think I saw the verdict of yesterday's, so I don't even want to say anything because I might like accidentally. Oops, sorry, wrong button. I might accidentally give something away, or I might even give away for the wrong trial.
The garage.
Okay. Let's see. Closed captions.
Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today because on September 8th, 2021, defendant, Bree Kuhn, locked her husband, Collin Turner, in the garage of their home. Collin then called 911 for help. As he's on a recorded phone call with 911, the defendant opens the door to their garage and shoots him 4 times in the back while he's on the phone. Now, anticipate this week you'll hear a lot about their relationship, their marriage. They've been married for several years. they had two small children together. They had a young boy, 4 years old, and John Patrick, called him JP. And they had a 3-year-old girl named Lainey. Ms. Kuhn also had a 12-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, Kylie.
You go there, then.
So Bree and Collin have the 3 children, 2 of them together. One is just Ms. Bree's. At the time of this incident, Ms. Kuhn was in the Navy. She was a chief, and she was working full time and was acting as the primary breadwinner of the relationship. Collin was a retired Marine who was in school at the time. I believe he was studying engineering, and he primarily was a stay-at-home dad with the 2 small ones, the 3-year-old and the 4-year-old. That was the dynamic of their relationship, and as happens in many relationships, I think you'll see that there were frictions between the different requirements for a working full-time parent and a stay-at-home parent. And the relationship worsened. On the day of the incident, September 8th, 2021, you're going to hear that law enforcement went out multiple times to their residence that day. You'll see and hear both the defendant and Collin speaking with law enforcement about what is happening. Eventually, you'll see both of their perspectives. So around 1 o'clock, or 12:54 to be precise, the defendant calls 911. She says that her husband has thrown her down. The sheriff's office sends out 2 units, deputies Stephen Quick and Wes Hartberger. As they arrive, Collin is sitting outside, and you'll see all this on the body cams. So Collin is sitting outside on the edge of the driveway, in a little sort of fishing chair or lawn chair, and the defendant is inside. And so the 2 deputies go and speak with them separately. So Collin tells the deputies, the deputies asking, why are we here? Why is she calling 911? And Collin starts to tell him, give him some sort of background about some of the defendant's mental health problems, and a suicide attempt he'd had. Him. I'll come back to that. But then he talks about the more recent problems, and he says basically this started last night. We were, sort of arguing. She was wanting to watch the television late at night, and she kept turning up the volume. I was asking her to turn it down, and kind of a back and forth. She wanted to watch the TV at a high volume. So eventually he says, I disconnected the Wi-Fi so she could watch the TV. And then he says, then she put my laptop in the dishwasher. And you'll see it's kind of sort of petty back and forth. And you'll see the relationship is not in a good state at that point. So, and then he says, she took my credit cards. Obviously, he's not the breadwinner in the relationship. And he says, I just want to leave. I want to take the kids. I just want to go to Georgia to my parents. And that, you'll see throughout the course of the trial, that was the sticking point. He wanted to leave with the kids. She didn't want him to take the kids. And he tells them, look, I would just leave, but I don't want to leave the kids here with her. So now the deputies go in and they talk to the defendant. And first thing she says, and really every time the first thing she says is, he's going to take my kids. Normally she says, my kids, not our kids, my kids. He's going to take my children. He wants to go to Georgia. She then tells the deputy basically what she had relayed on 911, that he pushes her up against the doorway and pushes her down in the bathroom. And the deputy's asking her, Deputy Hartberger, do you have any marks, any redness, anything like that? Anybody see it? Basically trying to see some kind of corroboration as to what happened. And She doesn't have any marks. She's unable to give any corroboration. No other witnesses. Obviously, you've got the two little toddlers running around. And so you'll see during this part of this conversation, she's saying, he's taking my kids. He pushes me down. And then she adds in, you'll see it on the body cam, as almost sort of a side comment. She says, he raped me over the weekend. You'll see that Deputy Hartberger either didn't catch it or didn't even acknowledge it, because she's talking about this pushing incident. She just sort of adds this part. But I think you'll see during the course of the conversation, her main focus is, he's taking my children. And so the two deputies explain to both parties that this is as for the children, they can't get involved. They're legally married. They're the biological parents of both children. They explain to both parties, we cannot stop either one of you from taking the children. You'll see on the body cams that, again, Collin, he's sort of sitting outside on the driveway in the garage. Then it comes out, and you got the two trucks in the driveway. Collin's red truck, I can't remember what kind of truck, and her white Traverse. You see on the body cam, the defendant comes out, and she starts unloading items from Collin's truck into her home. Because she said, I'm leaving, I'm taking the kids. You'll see she gets out one car seat and is putting it into her so that she can leave with the children. And that's what she's telling the deputies. So both parties are wanting to leave with the children. You'll also see, I believe, right before the police arrive, you're going to see a cell phone video that the defendant took. And some of it's hard to hear because obviously, especially towards the end, it looks like she's got the camera sort of down by her leg, the view sort of upside down, showing the back of her leg. She's talking with Collin. And you'll hear their back and forth. And at that point, she seems upset about that he won't talk to her. Why won't you talk to me? Why won't you talk to me? He's responding, I tried to talk to you last night. And his voice, he doesn't yell, he just sounds sort of fed up. I tried to talk to you. And this sort of you'll hear their back and forth. And it's important to keep in mind that this is her recording him. He's not yelling, he's not angry, he's just saying, look, doesn't sound like he wants to talk to her. So the police leave, and shortly after that, she locks Collin outside. He's outside in the driveway. He calls her and ends up speaking with her naval commanding officer. You'll hear from him. He tells them, she's cut off all my finances. I have no access to any of the money. And the defendant speaks with him as well. It's a man named Craig Forehand. He was with the commanding officer with the Navy. So he speaks with both parties. He's going to tell you, he spoke with both of them. They both seem calm. They both seem rational. And they were both expressing frustration. Collin is frustrated that she's cut off finances. She's talking about him taking the kids. And you'll see that his level of concern was fairly low. Both parties seem fairly high. So anyway, Collin's out in the driveway. At some point, Lainey wakes up. The defendant takes a 3-year-old girl out to Collin to get her to calm down. She's crying. She's crying. So Collin now has 3-year-old Lainey, but again, she won't let him back in the house. So now he's outside in the driveway. This 3-year-old child. It's September. It's hot. She won't let him back in the house. So now Collin calls 911. 4:58 p.m. He calls 911 and says, my wife has locked me out. I'm out here with my 3-year-old daughter. You'll hear her, well, I was going to say in the background, but it's more the foreground really. She's crying, she's upset, and he's trying to calm her down. So police respond again. Deputy Jameson Lynn responds. And again, he has conversation with both parties. You'll see he sort of bounces back and forth between them. And eventually, you'll see his interaction with both of them. Collin relates to him, what I've just told you. This is a continuation from earlier. I'm locked out. She won't let me in my own house. And he explains to Collin, it's your house. And however you need to get in, you can. You can break into your own home. You can't be locked out of your own home. Then he speaks to the defendant. And again, the first thing she says is, he's taking my kids. She then relates the incident that she had talked about earlier, with him pushing her down. And you can tell she's frustrated, because multiple times she says, he told me not to talk to her. He told me not to talk to her. And the deputy is explaining to her, you can't lock him out. He lives here. He has a right to get into the house. Same, similar with the children. Both of them have a right to children. Both of them have a right to the house. He's trying to, again, you'll see their interaction. What I think you'll see is she's frustrated. She's, the police aren't helping. Again, they can't keep somebody out of the house. And she's frustrated because he won't talk, Collin won't talk to her. Again, he's taking her kids in her mind. He's taking my children. And Deputy Lynn tries to sort of propose some compromises to her, but she doesn't really seem interested. So, and eventually she agrees to let him in the house, and Deputy Lynn departs the scene. Shortly thereafter, now she locks him outside in the garage. This time without any children. So he's out in the garage. She's inside the residence with the 3 children. So Collin again calls 911. Says, "You guys have been out here twice already. Now I'm locked in the garage. My wife won't let me in the house." He says, she broke the doors, and then when I came out here to try and fix the garage doors, she locked me out. I can't get back in my own house. And you'll hear his tone, how he's speaking. He's calm. He's not shouting. He's not yelling. He's not cursing. He's very calm. He's very rational. He sounds probably just more exasperated than anything, the whole situation. And then you'll hear, as he's talking, literally in mid-sentence, you hear a loud bang. And it's shocking in its suddenness, to the point that the 911 operator asks, you can tell how surprised she is. She asks, "What was that?" Because there's no context. The calm, rational conversation, then bang. "What was that?" she asks. And Collin has just enough time to say one more sentence before his life is ended. He has just enough time to say, "She just shot me." And then you hear bang, bang, bang in quick succession. The line stays open. And the 911 operator is trying to get a response from Collin. "Sir, are you there? Sir, are you there? Please respond." There's no response. Eventually, about 5 or 6 minutes later, right toward the end of the call, you hear the defendant. She leaves after shooting her husband, but a few minutes later comes back. She says to try and render aid. Collin was well beyond help at that point. She made sure when she shot him. You'll see his injuries. You'll hear the descriptions of his injuries. The physical evidence is going to show you that Collin is sitting in the garage on this little Yeti cooler, probably about 8 or 10 feet from the door. You'll see the pictures. Sitting there on this little Yeti cooler with his back to the door on the phone with 911. A very easy target. You'll see where she shoots him. One shot hits him in the upper back, comes out his neck, comes up his wrist. Two more right in the back, exit through his chest. Another one right in the back, they're covered from his chest. Hit both the lungs and the heart. He made sure what she was doing. He's sitting there an easy target. But it would seem that a short time later, reality set in. She probably realized what she had done was kill my husband. She goes back to try and help him, but he was very likely dead. She goes to the neighbors, takes her children to the neighbors, and you'll hear about her interactions there. And obviously deputies swarm to the scene. Obviously, they know exactly what's happened. Collin was on the phone. So a huge amount of deputies start showing up, and you hear the defendant is making statements, I shot my husband. She makes a statement of, he was going to take my kids. I shot my husband. That was her reasoning. Yeah, he was taking her kids. Her kids. You'll see on the body cams, and you'll see, right afterwards, she looks like she's in shock. She's kind of standing weird. And reality has set in as to what she just did. She just killed her husband for no reason while he's sitting there with doctors. So she is taken to the major crimes unit, where she is interviewed by Detective Rao and Detective Kelly. And you'll see a recorded interview. I will say that it was cold in there. They had the AC blast in those offices, and so they bring in a little space heater for her. Unfortunately, the space heater is very, very loud, and so for the first, I would say 12 or 13 minutes, she's a little hard to hear. She's kind of soft-spoken, and the space heater is blasting. Eventually, they turn it off. But you can't hear it. But I will say that the first time you listen to it, you may not pick up everything she says. But I do want to advise you that all evidence that is admitted, body cams, pictures, 911 calls, physical exhibits, everything that is admitted, you will get to take back with you into the jury room when you deliver. So please don't be concerned if you didn't catch something or if you didn't hear something. Like I said, especially that first portion, you may need to listen again to be able to hear it. You can't hear it. So she starts out with them, basically running through, movements of the day. Police came out. He pushed me to the ground. She says, I locked him out so he wouldn't take my children. And then she says, police came out again. I let him back inside. And I locked him out in the garage. And then they're asking her about, what happened to Collin. Her version at that point is that I went to the door. He tried to force his way in. He was kicking me. They have this physical altercation. She says he was going to kill me. So I shot him as he's coming at me. Now, detectives, they've heard the 911 call. They know exactly the circumstances of how Collin was killed. And it certainly wasn't during a physical altercation while he's kicking her and coming at her. That's what she tells them. They continue to ask her questions, and you'll see that, especially towards the end of all the questions, she does not want to answer. She either sidesteps, ducks completely. You'll see probably 4 or 5 times they ask her, what was he doing when you went out there? Where was he standing? What was he doing? Did he have anything in his hands? Every time she ducks the question. Now, you will see why she ducks the question. Because Collin was sitting there with his back to the door. Well, she can't tell the police that. So she keeps just dodging the question. Because in her version, he's attacking her. Detective Grau asks her, why did you go out there with the gun? And obviously, she had the gun when she went to the door. She says, I just wanted to go. She did. He was locked out. She's inside with the children. She did not have a good reason for going to the door. Well, we know the reason. She went to the door to kill Collin. So I'll ask you to contrast her versions, her testimony, her statements with some of the physical evidence in the case. You'll see there is a huge chasm between what the evidence shows and the version that she wants to claim. Now that is the bulk of the state's case. And the state will show that she killed her husband with premeditation. Now once that happens, I will arrest. And at that point, the defense can present evidence if they so choose. And if they don't have to, as we talked about yesterday. And typically I don't comment because I don't like to talk about things that I don't control. However, in this case, I feel very confident the defense will call at least one witness. So as we talked about yesterday, I expect the defense will call Dr. Julie Harper, psychologist. And she met with the defendant probably half a dozen times over the course of several months. And the defendant gave her many detailed stories about a great variety of topics. And Dr. Harper is then going to relate to you some of these things that the defendant told her. And they're going to be quite shocking to hear. Because the things that the defendant is saying about her husband are terrible. They're hard to hear. She's telling Dr. Harper, and Dr. Harper will then relate to you, that Collin has been raping her. He put the dog through the drywall. He's threatening to drown all the children. That he wants to kill his wife so that he can murder all these children. Some of the logic gets a little hard to follow, honestly. But just really shocking stuff that may elicit an emotional response from you. Because it's shocking allegations. Two things important to keep in mind. A, what is the source of all those allegations? And what you'll see is that it's simply her telling the doctor all these things that happened. Obviously, with Collin gone, there's nobody to contradict her versions.
Commander, can we approach?
May.
So you'll see that the source of all these stories is what the defendant is telling Dr. Harper. Dr. Harper will then relate it to you. The evidence will also show that there is no verification or documentation for any of these allegations. Just what she's telling Dr. Harper. Now, I also expect that Dr. Harper will talk about sort of the defendant's history, and the evidence will show that Ms. Kuhn has a long history of depression and anxiety, going all the way back to when she was a child, including her first suicide attempt at the age of 13. Obviously, all of these issues predate her relationship with Collin. And Dr. Harper will talk about the issues she faced in the lead up to what happened. We'll hear about that in April, Ms. Kuhn attempted suicide and was admitted for about 10 days at that point to a psychiatric hospital. And then the following month, she was admitted again, I think this time for about 7 days. This time it was not a suicide attempt, but she went to the ER with suicidal ideations. And you'll see that at these times she's reporting sort of the stressors that she has in her life, which primarily seem to do with work. She's had a lot of issues at work, and she also blames Collin for interfering at work, sort of causing trouble for her at work. At one point, she calls about that, she's being hazed, and he calls about that she's working too many hours. When he's causing trouble, she feels that he's ruining the reputation she's built at her work. So all these, you'll see, are the reasons for these psychiatric hospitalizations, the suicide attempt. No point does she ever report any kind of physical abuse, sexual abuse, threats to the children, anything. Again, she is in therapy multiple times a week. This doesn't work. She also relates to Dr. Harper, and I expect Dr. Harper will convey to you her version of what happened with Collin when she killed him. And you'll see that this version is radically different. Now she claims that she went out to the garage with a gun because she intended to commit suicide. She tells Dr. Harper that she put the gun under her chin. Collin gave her a thumbs up while he's on the phone, and she was so shocked by his nonchalant attitude that she lowered the gun in surprise and then accidentally shot him right in the back. She then claims that Collin said, "You're fucking dead," and charges at her, and she shoots him again. Again, the evidence is going to show that this is a radically different version than what she told the police, and is radically different than what the physical evidence shows. The evidence is also going to show you that Dr. Harper did not really attempt to question her or challenge her on any of these discrepancies or changes. And what you'll see is that Dr. Harper simply accepted everything that Bree told her. You also hear from, or I anticipate you'll hear, from the defendant's brother. He's going to tell you that he was on the phone with his sister during this incident. He's going to relate to you that he heard Collin attacking her, Collin assaulting her, Collin kicking her, and that he then hears gunshots. Again, you'll have the 911 recording of what happened. And so you'll be able to compare the two and make up your own minds. After that, the state will go into what we call rebuttal, which is the state gets to address evidence that the defense has put on. So at that point, the state will also call the psychologist, Dr. McDonald, like we talked about yesterday. And again, similar to Dr. Harper, she reviewed medical records from both the civilian hospital, the military hospital. She met with Ms. Kuhn on numerous occasions, and she will relate to you her conversations with Bree Kuhn. She also talked with Bree about what happened, and she basically told her, I'm not really sure. At this point, she said, I'm not really sure what's real and what's not. But she still thought she shot him in the chest. She didn't seem to, at that point, she seemed to claim to not remember what happened. So you see the progression in her stories. Then you'll see Dr. McDonald will also talk about, as well as Dr. Harper, they're both going to talk about battered spouse syndrome, what it entails, characteristics, and how it applies to self-defense, and how it applies to Bree Kuhn. And as you might guess, anticipate that Dr. Harper would say, yes, she's a battered spouse. Dr. McDonald would say, in her opinion, she's not consistent with a battered spouse. Anticipate that either Dr. Harper or Dr. McDonald will tell you about some of the characteristics of battered spouse. You'll see that many of them were not consistent with Bree Kuhn's either behavior or situation. A typical component of battered spouse is that the person can be helpless to exit the relationship. They don't have a way out of the relationship. The doctor is going to relate to you, and you'll see from Bree Kuhn's situation that she absolutely had a way out. She claimed she would have had a meeting with divorce attorneys the following day. She told multiple of the deputies that. She absolutely had a way out of the relationship. The doctors will also tell you about another component of battered spouse can be financial. That the battered spouse is financially relying upon their abuser. That was not Bree's situation. She was the breadwinner. The doctors will also relate to you. That's another common component of battered spouse is that the abuser will isolate the victim, cut them off. They don't have friends or family or options, nobody to turn to besides their abuser. That's a common component of battered spouse. And that was not, the evidence to show you that is not the situation that Bree Kuhn was in. She had plenty of family. She had plenty of support. She had the military. She was in therapy. All these things you can look at in terms of what consists of battered spouse. And obviously the doctors will give you their opinions. I anticipate Dr. McDonald will give you her opinion. She is not a battered spouse. But again, as Mr. Etheridge said yesterday, disproving a negative can be difficult. So she is not going to give you a definitive answer because she was not there. But the evidence will show that both doctors examined Bree Kuhn and reached different conclusions. But Dr. Harper, I would ask you to pay close attention to a lot of things she says and how she says them. The details matter. The state will also call likely several other witnesses that will, mostly law enforcement, that talk to Collin that day, and you'll see the body cams of their interactions with Collin. I anticipate that will take most through Thursday. We'll see how it's going to be difficult to judge these things, but that's what I anticipate. Ms. Kuhn is charged with one count of first-degree premeditated murder, as the judge explained to you. On Thursday or Friday, we would go through the elements of that charge, the things the state has to prove. It is important to note that, as Mr. Etheridge, as we both said yesterday, battered spouse syndrome is not a defense in and of itself, but it's as it relates to self-defense. The judge will give you the self-defense instruction, and obviously we will discuss it at length. You're going to hear from a good number of witnesses during this trial. You hear from some of the neighbors that had contact with the defendant. You hear from law enforcement that showed up at the scene. You'll hear from 911. You'll hear from the medical examiner, detectives. You'll see a large amount of video, body cams. You'll hear the 911 calls, pictures. Again, all the physical exhibits you get to take back with you. So, as with any trial, it's important that you pay attention and the details will matter. Now, it's important to note that as we go into closings on Friday, so we'll wrap up everything. And ultimately, it will be your decision. What the evidence is going to show you is that as this relationship broke down, the defendant, primary concern was he's taking my kids. And Collin had flat out told her, because of all these psychiatric issues and you attempting suicide, custody battle is not going to go well for you. He knew that. And she knew that if he takes those kids to Georgia, will she see them again? That was her driving motivation that day. She's going to lose her kids. The evidence will show that she locks him in the garage, shoots him in the back while he's on the phone with 911. Not in self-defense, no, without justification. She murdered her husband. The evidence will show that since then, she has been attempting to justify what she did and explain, and give reasons for that 911 call. She can't do it. The evidence will show this was not an act of self-defense. She acted with premeditation and murdered the husband. I'll ask you to find the defendant guilty of first degree premeditated murder. Thank you.
Mr. Etheridge?
May it please the court. Good morning, how y'all doing? Thanks for coming back. Sometimes after jury selection, people listen to me for a while and they say, I'm not coming back to listen to that anymore. I want to thank all of you for being here today. Like we talked about yesterday, other than military service, this is the highest civic duty you can do. And this is democracy in action, okay? This is what makes our country so great. I appreciate it. My partner, Jim Barnes, appreciate it. And most importantly, this young lady right here appreciates it because you're giving her what she asked for, her days in court, okay? And no matter what your decision is at the end of this week, we want to thank you for being here today for your service. Now, the prosecution has laid out what this particular portion of the proceedings is. It's kind of like a roadmap of where we're going to go, okay? The prosecution, because they have the burden of proof, they go first, okay? That's their case in chief. Afterwards, the defense, should we choose to do so, we put on our case in chief. As the prosecutor mentioned earlier, they will have a rebuttal, and we have closing arguments. Judge Duncan's going to give you the final instructions. Finally, you get to do your job, okay? If you will, though, try to listen as we go through this. A lot of the information that we're going to be deriving comes from cross-examination by me and direct examination by Mr. Barnes, who's going to handle the bulk of our case in chief. Please remember, as we go through this, as you listen to these witnesses, the presumption of innocence, which remains with Bree throughout the entire proceedings until and unless after everything's done, you've heard everything from both sides, jury instructions, arguments, until you're convinced beyond exclusion of every reasonable doubt that she did what this prosecutor claims she did. So please try to keep an open mind. Another thing the judge is going to tell you, don't leave your common sense outside the door when you walk in here today, when you're going through this. Now, I know this prosecutor well enough to know he's not going to intentionally mislead you. I'm sure not going to do that, and neither is Jim Barnes. But this is an adversarial process, okay? They've got their version of the facts. We've got our version of the facts, okay? And I want you to listen carefully as we go through this and listen to the questions I'm asking, the responses we're getting, the questions that Jim's going to pose to our witnesses probably late tomorrow, and the answers they give as well as these experts. And remember, the burden of proof remains with the prosecution. That can come from what we're going to hear today, tomorrow, the evidence, by way of exhibits, testimony, a lack of evidence, what you're not going to hear, and a conflict in evidence. Prosecutors already told you we've got conflicts in the evidence already from the get-go. Remember, all you got to do is find one reasonable doubt, and you're going to have to vote not guilty if you follow the law that Judge Duncan's going to give you. Okay? Remember what my client is charged with. First degree premeditated murder. As we go through this testimony, think to yourself, what kind of person calls the police out to their house if they're going to commit a premeditated murder? You're going to hear that police, law enforcement have been called out to that residence. Several of the witnesses are going to talk about it, but at least 5 times before. Use your own common sense as you go through this. How many times have most people ever had a cop car at their house? 0. This lady's had to have cops out there at least 5 times, it sounds like. Does that sound like a good relationship to you? Absolutely not. This woman was a Navy chief petty officer. She started out with security, okay, MPs. Then she became a recruiter, but she did exactly what they tell her to do, what she was trained to do. Call the cops when you need help. That's what she did. But what did they do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Each time we came out there, they did 0. I anticipate you're going to hear testimony from Bree that she closed this garage door because she was afraid of what Collin was going to do. You're going to hear testimony from her about what this man did to her. You need to know this, you're going to find out during this case, is that he was 100% disabled. He didn't retire from the service, he quit. He had a traumatic brain injury. He had issues with his brain. You're going to hear Bree say, you're unstable. You're a danger to the kids. This is on tape. She's saying this. So we're not talking about a normal person here. And this is the dynamics that was happening there. He didn't do anything. He was supposed to be at home studying. All he did is stay in his room all the time. These kids were running out there by themselves. You'll hear testimony from Bree. They weren't clothed properly. They weren't fed properly. The house was a wreck. This guy was in his room, in his own little world the entire time. This woman was out. You're going to hear testimony. She would work from like 7 o'clock in the morning sometimes till 1 o'clock in the morning the next day to try to make ends meet. He wasn't doing squat. She was the breadwinner, and all she got from him was abuse. Mental abuse, physical abuse. She got raped repeatedly. They were stationed in North Carolina. She was raped up there when she was up there. And when they got back here to Florida, she got raped again. And that's going to come into play when you hear from Dr. Harper. What people do after repeated abuse over and over and over again. And when she tried to call law enforcement to help, they didn't do anything. What the prosecutor conveniently forgot to tell you is that this man kept guns on him at all times. That day, the day of the incident, he had guns in the truck he was going to take these kids out with. He had threatened to kill these kids before, and her as well. This was his 3rd marriage, okay? You're going to hear testimony that every one of them happened to be red-haired. That he had told her that this marriage is not going to end unless it's going to end the way he wanted it to end. That's what this woman was worried about. That's the testimony you're going to hear. She was worried that he was going to take the kids and kill them, and her as well as we're going down. Let's all go down together. This is not a normal man she was dealing with. The question's going to come, and the testimony is going to be, how far do you have to go before you let somebody hurt you or your children? How far does a mother allow someone to terrify her, threaten to kill her children before she takes action? This man told the cops on one of the conversations, I've got guns in my car. So there's absolutely no doubt that he had guns in that car. She knew it. He was going to take those kids and do God knows what with them. There was already 2 trips out to that house before the incident ever happened, and not a dang thing was done. That's the testimony you're going to hear. Not a dang thing was done. Now, just because the testimony is going to be that she got pushed to the floor, she got slammed into the wall, well, there was no marks. The testimony is going to be, you don't have to have marks to get hurt, okay? You don't have to get marks to be threatened. You don't have to get marks to take your kids and kill your kids. This is not, the testimony's going to, this is not an ordinary Joe out there that we're dealing with, okay? This man had 100% disability for brain problems, TBI, traumatic brain injury. That's what you're going to hear. You're also going to hear in this call that this man claimed that she was trying to break his arm. Well, you're not going to hear any testimony whatsoever from this medical examiner there was anything wrong with this man's arm. This is another one of the lies that this guy's perpetrating throughout the entire.
Gunnar, maybe approach.
Man.
You'll make the final decision, okay, as to who's telling the truth. You're also going to find out from the medical examiner that this man had amphetamines in his system. Well,
Gunnar, maybe approach again.
Man.
you're going to hear are you ready? I'm sorry. You're going to hear testimony that you can't lock somebody in a garage. Okay, it's not possible. What you're also going to hear is that this man snatched her baby girl out of her arms to take her to the truck where his guns were. Every single witness you're going to hear that were there at the day, both neighbors that are going to testify to you, as well as law enforcement, I'm going to tell you this woman was in shock. And as we go through the testimony, please look at that in relation to the battered spouse syndrome that Dr. Hopperson talked about, and some of the trauma that's happened to her since early childhood until now, what she's gone through. Because you'll see, when we get to the closing jury instructions, you got to see one of the things you have to do, the analysis you got to go through is what she thought at the time. Not what y'all thought, not what I thought, not what he thought, what going through her mind when she made the decision to shoot him.
You want to maybe approach?
As I said, every witness that you're going to hear, both law enforcement and lay witnesses, are going to tell you that Bree was in shock that day. You're going to hear that Bree asked Deputy Metzler and Major Brinkman as well, is he alive? They even had EMS check on her because she was in shock. You're going to hear she made the statement, hopefully I just shot him, he's not dead. Bree also asked Major Brinkman, please tell me he's still alive. Now, her brother's going to come up here tomorrow and testify that she was on the phone with him. And he's going to testify that during the conversation, it sounded like she was being assaulted. Okay, once again, that's consistent with exactly what She told Dr. Harper what she's going to tell you tomorrow as well. Her brother Eric's also going to tell you that Bree was afraid for the children's safety and that Collin had threatened to kill the children before. He also is going to testify that he knew Collin. He recognized his voice over the phone, and Bree told him that he was hitting her. She was getting hit. Now, one of these videos that the prosecutor alluded to, you're going to hear and see Bree tell you this, okay? You'll be able to see this. This is not good for the kids. Once again, Mama Bear taking care of her cubs. This is not good for the kids. Can we stop this and talk about it? I want you to leave the house. You are unstable. I don't trust you with the kids. You're on disability for being unstable. This is the testimony you're going to hear. This is the type of man we're talking about. Now, in addition, you're going to hear testimony from law enforcement that Bree told them exactly where that firearm was. She didn't try to hide it. She didn't try to run. She didn't try to flee. What she did is took the kids to the neighbor for safety and came back and spoke to 911. She didn't try to jump in the car and run or anything else. She didn't have anything to run from. That's what her testimony is going to be. She did what she thought she had to do to protect herself and protect her children. She related the fear to her brother Eric of what Collin was capable of doing to her children. She'd been slammed against the wall that day, punched on the day of the incident, was being hit again by Collin when she was talking to Eric. She's going to testify about the abuse she suffered at this man's hands for the 3 years they were together, which included domestic violence, battery, multiple rapes. I want you to remember the things that we spoke about yesterday about the burden of proof, which remains with the prosecution. After you've had the opportunity to hear our witnesses, to hear our side of the story, and that's what we're asking you to do, keep your mind open, please, until we get to the end, okay? Have you heard Mr. Barnes go through direct testimony? Listen to the prosecution's rebuttal. Finally, it'll be your chance to do your job. We can even have to listen to us up here. But if you follow the law, if you follow the rules, the instructions that the judge is going to give, there's absolutely no doubt what your verdict's going to have to be. Because remember, you can't probably find her guilty more likely than not. If I had to guess, if I had to bet, Etheridge, if I had to flip a coin, no, you got to be convinced beyond to exclusion of every reasonable doubt. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got reasonable doubt all over this courtroom today through the rest of the week. You're going to hear it. You're going to see it. I'm going to ask you to do the right thing, follow the law, and vote not guilty.
Work on it, you can. If you want to wait, it's up to you. He's working on one now. But if you want to give it back to me later, it's up to you. What are you doing, man? If you want, I'll give you a few minutes and I'll come back in and check on you.
Hello, police officer.
What are you doing? You playing hide and seek?
So just if he hits me again after that, so if I just have to
Pull out your phone if you guys start arguing. Record it. Call us.
Let me show you our playroom.
We can't stop either one of you. Well, he said one of them is a stepchild.
Not these.
Hey, can you
Not
come look
these.
at our playroom?
Yeah, I'll come check it out. But that's without a protection order.
He can physically take them.
You both have rights, unless a court says otherwise, and then unless it's like a child born out of wedlock. Uh-oh.
Okay.
What do you want me to do, big guy?
Look at this playroom.
Okay.
Look at this.
Oh, I see.
It's a black widow.
Oh, no jumping. It's a big playroom, huh? You guys like it in here? No jumping.
Can you put on a show?
No, I can't put on a show. That's up to your mommy and daddy. No. What are you doing? You're getting the little one roused up. Let me get it in 2 minutes. I'll come back and check on you, Miss Bree.
Hey, look at this.
Yeah,
It's a fire truck.
I got it.
Why do you got a badge?
Because that's what I got here. Hang out in here, big guy.
No, but come with me.
No, you can't come with me. No.
Yes.
No. You gotta hang out.
Can I see your car?
Come on. Stay inside, big guy. See, now you got your sister want to come out. I'll show it to you before we leave. Go see what your mama wants.
Can I show you're missing in Heidi's room?
Man, you're trying to show me everything. I said they're trying to show me everything.
You have to let me know where she's taking my kids if she's leaving?
That's between you guys. We're not getting in the middle of
it.
Not unless the kids are born out of wedlock or there's a court order.
Yeah, finish the moms are. JP, you come to me? All right, don't grab too much.
I know
I don't want you to trigger anything.
You got.
Set my alarm off on my radio.
No. We don't touch that. No. No, that one either.
What's that one for?
It's just if somebody wants to be rambunctious.
That you see, that you like, what kind of thing does it do to people that's around? What does it do?
It's kind of like shock therapy.
Yeah, if it's out of wedlock, probably.
Why is your car not beeping?
It doesn't have a beeper on it. It's just a lock and unlock.
What is it locking?
I hope so.
Man, can you stay with me?
Oh.
$104.
104. You already got a report?
Can you sign me a case number?
I can take it. You already got paper?
Nah, I got it.
10-4. It's 8028 8028.
10-4, thank you.
10-4.
What are you doing, bonehead? Well, that's a wild child.
You all go, no woe.
$104.
104.
Do you have Oak Parties 14?
No, sir.
Temple.
San Rosina 185. Pass signal 0 is 1034, 1029. That's one.
What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Is it? How old? Play what?
Your hair comes on my shirt.
San Rosina 159.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
How old are you guys? 4?
55 for signal 26.
Don't you fall out of there now.
In the area of Bergman.
Oh, stay up here.
Police Parkway. Bergman Road on Gulf Breeze Parkway. A reference to two subjects, white male, white female, or possibly signal 21, walking against traffic. White male, last seen wearing class shorts. White female, last seen wearing black tank top.
Hey.
Hey. Dad. Can you touch me? Can you find you touch me in the car?
Can I what?
Touch me in the car. And then I will get my face over here.
You want to sit down in the car? You know, 4-year-old, you're not old enough to drive yet, buddy.
Hi.
Hey.
My brother's on this many.
How old are you?
I'm this many.
3?
Yeah. I'm gonna have another birthday in a minute.
In a minute. When's your birthday?
I'm gonna have another birthday.
When's your birthday?
It's my birthday. It's our birthday.
Uh-oh.
Look.
What are you touching up there? I hear something dinging.
Look at me. Mama, coming. Mama, coming.
86 District 1. I'll be in zone 1 with safety.
All right, guys, come on out. Come on.
I won't be ever again.
Ever again in your whole life. What if you get into a car accident?
Hi again.
Yeah?
185. Show me out at 1.
You opening the garage door? What are you doing?
JT, get out now.
You causing all kind of ruckus.
No, come on. Lady, out. Hey.
That was funny.
Golly.
You want to go to grab some grabs or no?
Better watch the skateboard.
Hey, you're not supposed to be on that skateboard, buddy.
I jumped over it.
Alright, you want to read this and make sure you got everything in there? He's trying to win your car now. Good luck.
Yeah, he's.
Are you looking for cars?
He's.
And those things won't go unless they got our fingers under the door to trigger them and got biosensors and. Just keep trying to teach some boundaries. Then you can't put it in drive. Nice. Weapons won't unlock. Nice. Can't get to the computer. So it's not like back in the day when you just pop the window down, open the door, and get out. When things are locked up like Fort Knox.
You raise your right hand for me, Mr. Collin. You swear and affirm everything you told me is true for the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
You just sign it on both sides at the bottom where it says affiant or affiant. I'm not sure how you say that. And then we'll get out of y'all's hair in just a minute. You guys going to be okay, you think, after we leave?
Yeah. Can you call the command? See if they can help me.
We can't dictate who takes the kids or where they go. Just you guys try to be civil about it, man. How long have you guys been married?
5 years, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, I don't have
Both
to tell
really
you.
bad at knowing our.
Yeah.
Oh man, I must have left my truck unlocked. What's wrong, buddy?
Uh-oh.
You okay?
He just hit his head on his gun.
You gotta look where you're going, buddy.
Uh-oh. Miss Bree?
Yes.
I'm going to give you both a business card. There's one for you, Collin. If you guys need anything, call us, okay? It's all part of the report. You'd have to get it from records with the sheriff's office, okay? All right?
185.
He wants in the car. He's been asking me since. No, you can't drive my car. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can't go in there though, buddy. Just looking. No, just looking.
Can I keep your car? Can I keep your car?
Hey, the police have to be very serious with their cars. You can't speak to them on that. Whoa, look at those seats.
Can I go in there?
I don't know if you want to get in the back seat.
It's yucky.
I wipe it down, but it may be a little nasty.
Why is it nasty in there?
Yeah. And sometimes they're dirty.
The police are catching them.
Can I go in there with the door open?
No.
Why?
It's yucky for you.
It just not.
Somebody
not
threw up
good.
in there. There's poop in there.
Why?
It happens.
They let a cat in there and the cat pooped in there. Sometimes bad guys want to be mean and throw up in the car, so the police officers have to clean it up. Isn't that yucky?
Can turn the lights on for you.
Turn left, 104, booking the 64.
Nobody in the house wants to hear a loud siren noise. They would be scared. Because they would think that somebody was going to get hurt or something. They would take one of these sirens when it's an emergency. That's not an emergency right now.
You good, big man? Or you want to drive it? I can't let you drive it. Maybe one day. I heard how you was beeping that horn.
I won't keep the horn.
I guess I'll just have a nice day, baby.
Keep your horn.
Detective Hartberger, in watching that early on in that recording, when when Ms. Kuhn is relaying to you what has happened, she made the statement of he put his hands on me, he raped me over the weekend. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Do you remember her making that statement at the time?
I completely missed the first one. Because I believe after reviewing the body camera, she said it twice.
And it seemed like you did not respond at that time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that something that you did not catch or realize that she said at that point?
With all the distractions, I didn't catch that.
Okay.
That's my fault.
And you were there because of what she had relayed on 911 about him pushing her in the bathroom. Is that correct?
About the battery.
Okay. Now in the video there, we see the two vehicles in the driveway, correct?
Yes.
And it looks like on the video, she is unloading items from Collin's vehicle into her
Section
vehicle.
leading, Your Honor.
Sustained as phrased.
What do we watch her doing with the two vehicles on that video?
She's moving stuff from Collin's vehicle into her vehicle.
Okay, including a child seat?
Yes.
Okay. And Detective Hartberger, that was your only interaction with the two of them and your only involvement in this case. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Thank you, sir. Those are my questions.
All right, Mr. Etheridge.
Good afternoon. You're an investigator now, detective now with major crimes, right?
Right.
Congratulations. We've had the opportunity to review the video, so I won't go into huge details on this, detective, but Mr. Turner told you that his pistol was in the truck, didn't he?
I don't recall if he said that or not.
Okay. So if the video revealed that, would you defer to the video?
Say it again.
What your body camera said? If he said that during you taping him on the body camera, it'd be on there, wouldn't it?
Unless
Telling you he had a pistol in the truck.
unless that initial few seconds where the audio's catching up,
Okay. And Bree told you she didn't want him in the house, didn't she?
She said she wanted to leave.
But she also told you she didn't want him in the house, didn't she?
I don't recall.
Okay, will you defer to the video again? That's the best evidence, don't you agree? What was taped on your body cam?
Correct.
Okay. And she told you not once, but it sounds like she told you several times that he raped me, didn't she?
She did make that statement twice.
And you didn't do any follow-up on the rape allegation at all, did you?
She wanted to leave. I offered her to fill out a witness statement. She said she would fill it out at a later time.
You didn't offer to give her a rape assault kit done at the hospital, did you?
No, sir.
Okay. And part of her other allegations was that he threw her down on the bathroom floor, right?
Correct.
And when asked about the marks, she told you he does it where it doesn't show. That's what she said in the video, didn't she?
She said she didn't have any marks, bruises, or scratches.
And when you responded something to the fact, well, that would be helpful. We have marks, what have you. She said, next time, I should just let him punch me in the face. That's what she said to you, right?
That's correct.
And Mr. Turner, when you went outside to him, he said, that kind of allegation is the last thing I need, right?
Right.
Were you aware that a law enforcement had been called out there several times before that particular day? You went out there, Mr. Hartberger?
No, sir.
Okay. And another thing that Mr. Turner told you is that I'm going to call the command, right?
He did say that.
Did you understand what that meant, what he was talking about?
I just assumed he was going to maybe try to get help from his first shirt or
He was going to call her command.
No.
Is that what you got out of it?
No.
Okay. You thought he was going to call his command?
That's what I took it as, yes.
Did you know he was no longer in the military?
I wasn't aware.
At that time?
No, sir.
And the child, the little wild child, as you referred to him as, he started crying because he hit his head on the gun in Mr. Turner's truck, didn't he?
I don't know what he hit his head on.
May I have a moment, Your Honor? Thank you, Mr. Harburg.
Any redirect?
Deputy Hartberg, you had a good deal of interaction with all parties as we saw in the video. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you have any concern of in observing Collin's interaction with his children?
No.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Can this witness be excused or does he need to remain? Or it's just subject to recall?
I think at this point he can be excused. My initial plan was to recall him, but at this point I think he can be excused.
I have no objection to him leaving whenever the prosecutor's done with him, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, sir. You may step down. You're now excused. Mr. Alderman, call your next witness.
Your Honor, my next witness, if defense and I may approach.
Sure.
Your Honor, state would call Deputy Jameson Lynn.
Okay, sir, raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do. All right, sir, have a seat in the chair. Pull the chair as close to the microphone as you can. Speak into the microphone loud enough so that everybody can hear you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Alderman.
Thank you, sir. Sir, would you please state your name for the record?
I'm Deputy Jameson Lynn,
And where are you employed, sir?
Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been there?
I've been there just a little over 5.5 years, I believe.
And what are your duties with the Sheriff's Office?
I'm a patrol deputy.
Now, I want to direct your attention to September 8th of 2021. Were you on duty that day?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. And did you respond to a call in Jenks Drive?
Yes, sir, I did.
What kind of call was it? Do you remember?
I believe it came out as a police assist, ultimately turned into a disturbance, I believe.
Okay. And what is a police assist?
A police assist is kind of just a generic name for citizens needing assistance in some fashion, shape, or form.
And how many deputies generally respond to a police assist?
Typically one.
Okay. What about a disturbance?
Two or more.
And so on this call out, this assist, how many deputies responded at that time?
To the police assist, just one, myself, sir.
And do you remember about what time you arrived there on Jenks Drive?
Let me take a look at my notes.
And do you have some notes there with you?
Yes, sir. The CAD notes in the incident report.
And would looking at that help refresh your memory as to exactly what time you arrived on scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've got 1657, I believe.
Okay. So to us civilians, that's 4:57. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you wearing a body cam at that time?
Yes, sir, I was.
And was it activated?
Yes, sir.
And have you viewed the footage from that day?
Yes, sir, I have.
And do you deem that to be a fair and accurate recording of your interactions that day?
Yes, sir.
Now, you had contact, being as you're by yourself, you had contact with both Collin and Bree, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, outside of your body cam, did you have any, well, at that time, did you have any contact with either Bree or Collin outside of what's on the body camera?
No, sir, not to my recollection.
Okay. Your Honor, this time I'd move State's Exhibit 114 into evidence.
All right. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. State's Exhibit 114 will be admitted into evidence.
And I would move to publish.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Hello.
Nice to see you here.
Yes, sir. Indeed. What can I do for you? I'm Deputy Lynn with County Sheriff's Office.
Hey, my wife won't let me in my house.
Okay, is this wife?
Domestic dispute? Yep.
Okay, can I talk to you over here?
Can I
Ma'am?
have my daughter, please?
Hey, can I just have you wait right there for just one moment, okay? Not right now. Hold on. Just one second. We'll get this figured out, okay? So what's going on today, sir?
So she's got mental health stuff going on. I was trying to leave for Georgia to get a break from her for me and the kids earlier today when she called you guys. And when I was talking to you guys, she took my photo ID, all my access to money and everything.
Okay.
And then took the kids inside and locked me out. So they're locked outside in my driveway.
Okay.
For the last couple hours.
Do you live here?
What's that?
Do you live here?
Yeah, we're co-owners. We both.
Okay.
So I've been on the phone with family advocacy through the Navy and all that most of the day. So I haven't cared that I'm outside.
Okay.
Until she came outside with my daughter on the porch, screaming. So I came over and she gave my daughter to me. She didn't make her stop screaming.
And what's the argument over? They put in the note something about kids going to Georgia.
Yeah, that was the most closest alligator to the boat.
Okay.
But she was mad that I turned off the Wi-Fi last night, so she washed my laptop and dishwasher.
Okay.
And that's kind of like the last straw.
You guys, are you guys still married?
I mean, for now, yeah.
It's still legal and it's common property.
Yep.
What's yours is hers and hers is yours, unfortunately.
Yeah, so she's not allowed to stop me from entering my house.
If it's your house and you still live here, by all means, you got to enter your home. However, you got to enter your home.
10-4.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so she's allowed to change the locks, and I'm allowed to break a window. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not telling you to break a window. If you want to tear, I mean, it's your property. However, you got to get into your house. You got to get into your house. If it's your home and you live here and you got your items in there, if you got to get in, however you got to get in.
You can't like escort me in, no, and let me in.
So. Well, I'm gonna talk to her in just a second. But we'll figure out what's going on. But
yeah, so then it was back to the more recent. I'm sorry.
Okay.
She wanted to take Lainey back inside.
Okay.
Okay. Lainey started screaming that she doesn't want to go inside without Daddy.
Okay.
And then she wants Lainey to go inside without Daddy.
Okay.
So
here we are.
So here we are.
Okay. At any point with this argument, was it physical? Was it anybody hit, scratch, kick, bite, push, anything like that? Poke, anything even?
Nope.
Okay. So that's just basically just a verbal argument of the kids going to Georgia then. Is it a continuation from what happened earlier then? Is that fair to say?
It's a continuation of years, but yeah.
Okay. Right, but I mean, because I know we were out here earlier over the kid issues.
Oh yeah, this happened directly after you guys were here earlier. She locked me out.
Okay, about what time were we here earlier?
What, like 2?
2 sounds good? Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right, just give me 1 second, okay? Yep. Let me talk to her and see what's going on. Do you mind if I step over? Talk to you?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Hey, so if you want to talk over here, I don't, want arguing back and forth.
No,
So.
it's fine. He's terrible hearing.
Okay, so I'm Deputy Lynn with Central County Sheriff's Office, as I said earlier. So what's going on today?
Well, you guys were out here earlier.
Federal
I was
Unit
trying to take my
215,
kids.
10-4 check.
I'm 10-4, thank you.
I was trying to take my kids to Georgia.
Okay.
I
Are they your kids or are they yours and his?
These two. Well, the small
Okay.
ones are mine and his.
Okay. And so he's wanting to take them to Georgia.
Yeah, I was talking to him about wanting a divorce, so he said that he's going to take the kids to Georgia.
Okay.
And he can because we're still married.
Okay. Yeah.
We got into an argument about it.
Okay.
He pushed me up against the wall. He
Okay.
threw me onto the floor in the bathroom. And
Okay.
that's when I called the police
Okay.
earlier today.
Okay.
They came out, did, whatever they
Okay.
could do, which wasn't really anything.
Okay.
And then I locked him out.
Okay.
He had been in contact. Well, he had been in contact with my command.
Okay.
So he said that there's allegations of emotional abuse.
Okay.
So obviously I don't want him in there.
Okay.
Him and I arguing in front of the kids. So I
Okay.
locked him out. My daughter, she wakes up sometimes, like inconsolable from naps or whatever.
Sure.
And it's usually like him and I will pass her back and forth. It's kind of, she's fickle. Who
Okay.
she wants better. So she woke up from the nap and
When you say your daughter, you mean that one?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I had been, I had called him and texted him like, hey, we should talk. This is not the path we want to go down right now.
Right.
When she woke up like that, I brought her out here because she's used to him and I, so I brought her out here.
Okay.
So he can help calm her down. He snatched her from me and then started trying to use her to,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
He said, she doesn't want to come in the house unless daddy's there.
Okay.
Being manipulative.
Okay.
It's not a
So-
good environment.
I don't know if you overheard what I told him. It's his house too, right? He lives here too. So we can't lock each other out of the house. I mean, if we do, he's got every right to enter the house. However, he's got to enter the house.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. And same thing. If we change the locks, he's got every right to get in the house. However, he's got to get in the house. Okay.
Okay.
If he lives here, he's got property here. For the betterment of your daughter, whatever you guys got going on, you got to put aside for the kids. You see what
I
I'm saying?
agree, but he told me not to talk to him. So
Okay.
I'm not going to let him
All
in the
right.
house if he's going to come in and start
Okay.
arguing.
But at the same time,
throwing
that's leaving the child. I mean, that's kind of leaving the child
Right,
out here
so I
fend for
want her
herself. Does
to
that
come
make
back
sense?
in. Yeah, for sure. So I
Okay.
don't want him to do that.
Okay. But I mean, I can't stop him from going inside the house.
But that's fine. I just wanted
Okay.
him to come to me so that she's not out here.
Okay.
They said earlier that since I didn't have any bruises, and
Okay.
there was nobody to witness
Right.
him getting physical with me,
Okay.
that they couldn't do anything.
Okay.
So what I don't
what
want to
what you
happen
can do,
is
and
I don't want him to come in and
Okay.
get physical with me in front of my kids.
okay, what I'm gonna tell you to do is what I tell everybody to do. You got that phone, right? That phone's got a camera on it. If at any point you feel threatened or like you're going to be harmed or anything
There,
like,
I don't
yeah,
want them to see that.
I get it, and but I mean everything's not preventable. We can't,
Yeah.
we can't say, well, you got to stay out in the front yard for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I just
at the risk of a
I
potential
didn't
argument.
call you. I just came out to
No,
take
I
your
get it. I get it. But like I said, I'm letting you know.
Okay.
At some point, we got to put our differences aside for the
Yeah.
kids, and we got to say, hey, look, you got a guest bedroom, I got my room, or vice versa, whatever it is. I mean, if y'all sleep in separate rooms, or maybe somebody, take a chill pill and sleep on the couch tonight.
Right, he
which
won't do that. He told me not to
okay.
talk to him.
All right,
So
well,
I want to get my daughter out of the
Okay.
bugs and eat, if that's okay. And
Yeah.
I have a 4-year-old.
I'm perfectly fine with that. But I mean, like I said, it's just something that we got to, I mean, if bringing your daughter inside means he gets to come inside too, that might be something where we got to say, look, let's make a compromise. If you want to come inside with her, that's fine. I'm gonna go to the room and I'm gonna close the door and I'm gonna stay here. But at least your daughter's safe and she's not, out here in the road or whatever, or in the heat, getting bug bites or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I'm gonna grab her.
Okay. Let me just get some information from you real quick. What's the kids' names?
Kylie,
Is it KY?
Kylie is my 12-year-old.
KYLIE.
Kylie
Okay.
Kuhn. I'm sorry, I really have to go back in because my 4-year-old. Can I just?
Okay.
get
Yeah,
her?
absolutely. Well, if he's gonna wait out here for just a second with her, and I'll go inside if you want with you. And
I don't have to come alone with her.
okay, well then we can all walk back inside.
Okay.
All right.
I don't want that either.
Okay. Well, I mean that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so
But we need to check on a 4-year-old. We want to make sure the 4-year-old.
No, that's fine. My 12-year-old's in there. So.
Okay. All right. So what's Kylie's last name?
Kuhn, Kuhn.
Kuhn. What's the middle name?
Should have one.
You should have one. Okay. What's her date of birth?
May 22nd.
Okay.
He called you, so can you get the information from him?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, are you not wanting? I'm just trying to get the names of the kids.
Yeah, no, I gave them to the people earlier.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean,
She's
I'm
not answering.
okay. Yeah, go check them by all means. All right. So I've got Kylie's name. What's the other child's name? Is this Kylie?
No, this is Lainey.
Okay.
Kylie's 12.
Oh, okay. All right. So what's her name? Lainey? Spell it for me.
Laney.
Okay. And what's his same last name? Kuhn, Kuhn? Turner?
Yep.
Okay. And what's her date of birth?
August 1st of 2018.
Okay. And what's the last one name? I got Lainey and Kylie.
And JP Turner.
It's just J and P?
Yeah. John Patrick.
That's what I need.
JP.
Okay. And Turner.
Yep.
And what's the date of birth?
April 25th, 2017.
Okay. And they all reside here in this house too?
Yep.
Okay. So what I'm going to tell you is this. You were asking earlier, if it's your house, how do you get inside? If it's your house, you got to get inside however you get inside. Okay? I can't tell you how to get inside your own house. If you got to call a locksmith, that's fine. If you've got another way in, it's up to you. It's your property. It's your house. Okay? You got to get in how you got to get in. Okay? For the sake of the children, though, what we got to do is we got to figure something out between you two. Okay? And I understand we can't fix, all the problems in 10 minutes. Okay? But when it comes to a point, where we're standing out in the driveway with a kid and it's hot. I mean, it's a hot day. You're sweating. I'm sweating. I know she's sweating.
215,
Okay.
10 for check.
I'm 10-4. Thank you. Can you make this a 20 and link it to 104's call from earlier? I believe you had a case number. It's 8028, I believe.
10-4.
Might be a cop out, but my wife's got borderline personality disorder, and she's nice to you.
Oh, I understand.
Like
I understand.
that when you're not here.
I've met her before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We were in March?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
Apologies for not recognizing
No,
you.
you're okay. You're okay. But yeah, I'm familiar with her, and like I said, it's just we got to come to a situation where the kids aren't standing in the driveway all day. You see what I'm saying? Whatever the compromise may be, if you say, look, you want the kid to come inside, I want the kid to come inside. You don't want me inside. How about this? We'll get a separate room.
145, 10 for
Something
check.
like that. You see what I'm saying? We got to come to an agreement where we can all kind of be adults and say, for the betterment of the children, so the children ain't standing here in the driveway all day. We got to get them inside so they don't get overheated and whatnot. Bug bites, mosquitoes, things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, and in the end, it's about taking care of kids, right? We got to be adults, but we got to step up and we got to say, hey, look, let's work something out. And maybe that's the conversation you guys need to have is see if we can figure something out, some sort of compromise. But so we're not coming out here all the time. And I'm gonna tell you, we keep coming out here. If it turns physical at any point, somebody's gonna have to go to jail. Okay, state law requires somebody to go to jail. If somebody gets physical and there's an evidence of it, somebody's going to jail. Okay, whether it's you, whether it's her, I don't know, but
Another reason I wanted to go to Georgia and why I've been happy staying out here all day. Because
well, they're your kids. I'm sure, like that deputy told you earlier, they're your kids. They're her kids. I can't tell you what to do, and that's a civil matter. Okay, so if you want to take the two kids and go, and she's good with it, great. If you want to take the kids and she's not good with it, well, it's possession's 9/10 of the law. Okay, you know what I'm saying? It's a civil issue though. But if you guys are going through a divorce, make sure you get a child custody agreement of some sort. That's worked into the divorce paperwork as well, if that's the case. Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna go in there and speak to her one more time. Do you have any questions for me?
So she can take my driver's license?
Does she have your driver's license?
Yeah.
Where's it at right now?
I don't know where it's at.
Okay.
When I was talking to the deputies in my garage giving a statement earlier, she came out to my truck and took my wallet. So 3 forms of ID and.
So your wallet and your driver's license are the things she's got from you right
now? Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll go in there and talk to her and ask her about them. Okay. Okay. All right. Hello. I didn't want to let your doggies out. So he says you've got his wallet and his driver's license. Do you know where those items are?
No.
Did you remove them from his truck earlier?
No, I took
Okay, because
my American Express.
those are personal items. Okay. So
Right,
being as those are personal items, not common shared items. Okay. If we've taken them from him, that's a theft. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So if we've got those items need to be returned. I'm just going to tell you that. Okay. That's a fair warning. Okay. As far as tonight, we've got to figure out something where you guys can, maybe one of y'all can get a hotel, maybe one of y'all can agree to sleep in another room or something like that or whatever. But what we got to do is we get something figured out that way we're not out here 10 more times tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Okay. So he's going to bring the kid inside the house. Okay. And this is his house too. We're not going to prevent him from coming inside his house. Okay.
Yeah, so you were.
Okay. All right. So this is his house. He's going to bring the kid inside the house. And we're going to get things worked out, right? So we're not coming back out here 2 more times. Because if we do come out here and somebody tells me somebody's been physical and I can find some evidence of such, i.e. red marks, bruises, scrapes, scratches, or an evidence, or a witness or anything like that, it's kind of somebody's going to wind up on jail. Might be you, might be him. I don't know. I can't predict the future. Okay. But what I'm telling you is if we continue to go down this route, we're going to have to start resorting to other things. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I don't want to do that. Okay. I mean, I want everybody to get along and enjoy their night. Okay. Like I said, for the children's sake, if nothing else, you know. I mean, we can hate each other, but you know, in front of the kids, we not to, you know, we say, yeah. And again, I mean, I can't make you do something if that's not how you want to be. That's not how you want to be. But it's just probably for the best. Okay. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So can we agree to let him in so he can bring the kid inside and so she can get cooled down?
Yes. So he's not going to harass the kids.
No, he's not going to bother anybody. Okay. And if he does, you can give us a call. We'll come back down here. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any questions for me this afternoon? Okay, I appreciate you being cooperative with me. Thank you. Okay, sir. You're good to go. She's going to let you back inside with the kid. Cool. All right. We just, like I said, let's just try not to nitpick at each other, okay? I mean, I'm not saying you are, but we got to come to a resolution on it. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah,
all right.
I got you.
All right. I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And if you get anything and you need us, just let me know.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Oh, I did ask her about the wallet and driver's license. She said she doesn't know where they are. Unfortunately, I can't prove that she does know where they are. I get that for you. I got you. You got your hands full. All right, here we go. You might want to wash it off. It hit the ground. All right.
Off inside.
You're welcome.
Have a nice day.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Deputy Lynn, after that recording we just watched, at any point did you respond back to that same location?
Yes, sir.
Okay. About how much later was it you arrived back at that location?
I don't have the note on me. I believe it's somewhere within an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Okay. It wasn't too long.
And what was the situation as you arrived on scene?
The second time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It was a little bit kind of hectic, chaotic. I kind of arrived last, I believe. I was one of the last units that got there. Just kind of a little bit hectic.
Okay. And again, at that time, were you wearing a body camera?
Yes, sir, I was.
And was it recording?
Yes, sir, it was.
And have you viewed a copy of that recording?
Yes, sir, I have.
And was that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you witnessed on the scene the second time?
Yes, sir.
You know, this time I'd like to admit State's Exhibit 115 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. State's Exhibit 115 will be admitted.
Move to publish.
Okay.
No objection to publication, Your Honor.
I'm ready, Judge.
Delivery. Station clear.
And my other two kids are 4 and 3. And they're in that house too.
Did you search her already? Hold on, real quick. We're gonna search you, okay? Hold on to your hand real fast, okay?
Is he dead?
I don't know yet, ma'am. I just got here.
No, I'm fine. I just took my kids and my husband.
Are the kids in the house?
No, they're with the neighbor. Christy Curtis, John. Christy and John Curtis. Any other? I have nothing.
Thing on you that I need to be aware of?
Nothing.
Anything in your bra?
No.
A bra on?
I do have a bra.
Just gonna pull it forward, make sure you don't have anything in it, okay?
It's a nursing bra, so it's not. He was dead. I saw him and I tried to help, but he was dead.
Okay, well, let's not talk about that right now, okay?
My kids don't have a dad or a mom now. And this is my fault. And he's right.
Alright. For right now, we're just gonna do this for right now, okay?
Just for your safety, for ours, okay?
I'm a murderer.
So listen, listen to me. You're not under arrest right now. You're being detained, okay? We'll investigate.
No, you should arrest me. I killed my husband. Hopefully I just shot him. Maybe he's not dead. He should not be dead.
Did you double lock her up?
How come they're not going to get him? The ambulance.
I think they need to talk to you two. So.
Will the ambulance go get him?
All right. You searched her. She's good. I'm gonna sit her in the car. Don't say nothing. All right. Go ahead and have a seat in the car for me, okay? Listen to me, ma'am.
Yes.
Go ahead and have a seat in the car for me. It's easiest if you just sit your butt down first and you switch your feet inside, okay? Can you do that for me right now? I appreciate you. We'll get this figured out, okay? I'm gonna let you know as soon as I know something, okay?
He's dead.
Listen to me. I'm gonna let you know as soon as I know something, okay?
I think she's in shock.
All right. Just twist around, feet inside there, okay? Now listen, I'm gonna crack this window for you so you can get some airflow, okay? Do you feel like you need EMS to check you out? Are you breathing okay? Okay, look at me. Okay, take some nice deep breaths, okay? I can see you holding your breath right now, okay? Okay? Can I let these gentlemen look at you from EMS? Can I let them look at you at least? Okay. Hey, can y'all look at her? I think she's in shock. Hey, do you want to kick your feet out and sit on the edge of the chair here so they can talk to you? Okay, she's in shock. What's your name again, ma'am? Rebecca, right? What's your name? Bree. I'm sorry, Bree. Bree.
He doesn't want us to confirm or anything?
I don't think so. Let me ask them real fast. Hey, keep an eye on him. Hey, they want to know, do they need to confirm or is he obvious?
No.
Okay.
I want up there.
Okay. Hey, they don't need to confirm.
When we responded twice today, there was 3 kids, 10, 12. Can you advise if they're 10-4?
10-4, we're trying to locate where they're at right now.
215, she's advising me at the neighbor's house.
John and Christy Curtis.
What house number?
It's like 4 up.
4 up on the north side of the road?
Right.
On the north side of the road?
On the right.
South side of the road? 215, she's advising her John and Christy Curtis. Thank you, Judge. Deputy Lynn, after what we observed there on the body cam, did you proceed to the Curtis residence?
Yes, sir, I did.
And who did you locate at that residence?
The 3 children.
Thank you, sir. Those are my questions.
Mr. Etheridge, cross-examination.
Thank you, Hunter. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You had been out to that 6184 Jenks Avenue several months before September the 8th, 2021, hadn't you?
Prior to September 8th, yes, sir.
And the call was for this young lady being suicidal, correct?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
And according to your information, she called her brother in regards to suicidal idealization, and that's when you guys got called out, right?
Yes, sir.
And at the time, she met the criteria for Baker Act and was admitted to a medical facility, wasn't she?
Yes, sir.
And basically, you correct me if I'm wrong, but basically a Baker Act commitment occurs when a person poses a potential threat to themselves or others, right?
More or less, yes, sir.
You were aware that she was a chief petty officer of the Navy as a security officer at one time, right?
Yes, sir.
In the first video we saw today, you were aware that one of your fellow officers, now Hartbarger, had been out there already that morning, right, or earlier that day.
Yes, sir, correct.
And you weren't sure whether Bree called that time or whether Mr. Turner called, were you?
The previous call? No, sir, I wasn't aware of who called.
Were you aware that he had taken or snatched the 3-year-old out of her arms and taken her outside?
I wasn't, I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of very much of the information from the previous call.
But you were aware that he was threatening to take the rest of the children with him to Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
Were you aware, or was it made known to you that he had guns out there in the same truck that he was going to take these children to Georgia?
I don't recall hearing anything about firearms.
And Bree told you that she had been pushed or hit by him, didn't she?
She told me that she had spoke with the deputies previously about a physical altercation. Yes, sir.
And when you got out there, the first video was about, what time was it? 4 something in the afternoon, correct?
Yes, sir. Looking at my CAD notes, we received the call at 16:57, before 57. I was dispatched at 5 o'clock even, and I responded, was on scene by 5:22.
Thank you. And on the video, I wrote this down, but she told you she called the police because he threw her down the bathroom floor and pushed her in a wall, but nothing was done. That's what she said in this video, wasn't it?
Correct, sir.
And I just asked you, so I'm not going to ask you again. But she said clearly and plainly in this video, I don't want to leave him alone, her alone with him. That's what she told you on the video, didn't she? Talking about Mr. Turner and Laney, the little girl.
Yes, sir.
And she told you she took the American Express car, but that belonged to her, right?
I don't recall the conversation of the American Express.
Okay. But she denied taking any driver's license or identification from Mr. Turner, didn't she?
She told me she had not.
Okay. You didn't charge her with theft of any ID, did you?
No, sir, I did not.
She was never arrested for theft, was she?
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
And what she was most concerned with, it appeared to me from watching the video, and you agree with me, the video speaks for itself, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But what it appeared to me, what she's most concerned with is as long as he's not going to harass the kids. That's what she said on that video, didn't she?
It is a statement she made. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's switch gears to the second video. I believe her words was, I saw him and I tried to help him. That was one of the first statements she made, right?
I don't recall such a statement.
Would you refer to the video that we just watched?
I don't specifically remember that statement.
That was your body cam. You had your body cam on. That's what we just watched, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. If that's what was on the video.
She said that on your body cam, and it's on that video. Would you defer to that?
If that's what's on the video, yes, sir.
Okay.
Forgive me, I didn't hear it.
No problem. And I believe her exact words, my kids don't have a mom or a dad anymore.
Yes, sir.
And you had her checked out by the EMS because of what you suspected was shock.
Yes, sir.
To your knowledge, she never tried to run or hide from law enforcement, did she?
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
She didn't try to leave in that Traverse, that white Traverse that was parked out there, did you?
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
Were you aware, or did you become aware that she told law enforcement exactly where the firearm was that was used?
I was not aware of that at the time.
And on the video again, she asked you, how come you're not calling the ambulance, didn't she?
Yes, sir.
You have a moment, Your Honor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
Just briefly, Judge. Deputy Lynn, Mr. Etheridge asked you about her making the statement about she didn't want to leave him alone with the child, correct?
Correct, sir.
And that's the same child that she intentionally brought out and handed to Collin because the child was upset. Is that correct?
To my knowledge, yes, sir.
And that's what she told you.
Yes, sir.
I brought this child out, handed her to Collin so that he could calm her down, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in terms of her rendering aid, if she has shot her husband to death, is rendering aid going to do any good?
I couldn't speak to that. I wouldn't assume so.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Okay. Could this witness be excused or does he need to remain?
I would ask that he remain, Judge. I mean, he's free to go, but I may
Remain on standby?
Yes, sir. I'll have him on standby for Thursday, and I will.
All right. Any objection to that?
Not at all, Your
All
Honor.
right, sir, you're now excused, but please remain on standby. All right, Mr. Alderman, call your next witness.
State would call Deputy Bonner.
Your Honor, what? May we approach briefly?
Okay. All right, members of the jury, we're going to take a brief 10-minute recess at this time. Please leave your notepads and pens underneath the chairs. Please not discuss the case among yourselves, and we'll be back with you momentarily.
Please rise for the jury.
If y'all will, just follow me.
And bring the jury back in.
All rise for the jury, please.
Okay, raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I swear.
All right, sir, have a seat in the chair. Pull the chair close to the microphone and speak into the microphone loud enough so that everybody can hear you. Mr. Alderman?
Thanks, sir. Sir, would you please state your name and spell your name for the record?
Deputy Kyler Bonner, Kyllerbohner.
And where are you employed, sir?
Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been there?
A little over 7 years.
Okay. And what are your duties with the sheriff's office?
I currently work in patrol.
You're currently working nights, is that right?
Evenings. It's referred to as the swing shift, but it runs into nights.
I want to talk to you about September 8th of 2021. Were you on duty that day?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point that, did you respond to a shooting?
Yes.
And where did you go?
I don't know the specific address off the top of my head. I was assisting another deputy on a separate call. I was currently with the K-9 division at the time, so with those duties, I'm all over the county.
Okay.
I just happened to be in Navarre during that time frame, and I heard the emergency tone come out through our radio traffic, and then I proceeded to respond to that area.
And when you say the emergency, what did that indicate to you? What kind of call did you understand it to be?
So typically high priority calls, usually referring to danger, violent crimes. They dispatch tones, a specific tone that lets you know the severity of that call. It basically puts deputies on alert to pay attention to the radio traffic being passed.
Now, once you arrived at the scene, did you have any involvement in locating a firearm?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you ultimately locate that firearm?
Inside the kitchen, it was, I was able to see it resting by the toaster on the countertop.
Okay. Now, during that time frame, were you wearing a body cam?
Yes.
And was it recording?
Yes.
And the copy of that recording, is that a fair and accurate recording of your body camera?
Yes.
Okay. This time I'd like to move State's Exhibit 111 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, State's Exhibit 111 will be admitted.
And Judge, I would move to publish.
You may.
No objection, Your Honor.
I didn't mean to call you off that, man. You were closer than this. No, you're good. You're good.
Who did she shoot?
He's in I don't know who he is, but he's in the garage. In the chest, or looks like in the chest. Might be two.
Deputy Pinto, who is that other deputy with you there?
The other deputy with me there is Deputy Pinto.
Pinto, thanks, sir.
They said they heard 4 gunshots, though.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I don't see a signal 0 anyway.
You got an extra glove?
I might have to come up here after that on up there yet.
Florida National Guard package, Adam 7-1, Control State 7.0, Black Diesel Type, Luggage 50, Middle Horror, Acre. And they are 10-4.
158 to 61. (158) any supervisor on scene.
Hey, sorry. Bonner's calling you. Bonner's calling you.
Hey, I got eyes on the signal 0 here in the kitchen. It's behind the toaster. 26. It looks like it's in the holster.
Yeah.
But it's stuck behind the toaster next to the fridge. I haven't touched it.
Okay. They need you to move your vehicle so this lady next door can get out.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Deputy Bonner, a couple of times there, you make mention of a signal 0. What is a signal 0?
So we have signals and 10 codes with the agency that mean certain things. Signal 0, in that instance, refers to a weapon.
And after locating the firearm there in the kitchen, as we saw, did you have any further involvement in the investigation of the case?
No.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Etheridge?
Good afternoon, sir. In looking at the video, I saw a large amount, a whole bunch of bottles of prescription medications. You remember seeing those up there in the pantry and the shelf?
I don't recall.
When you were looking at, did you see them up there? You stopped and went back there a couple of times. There's a whole row of prescription bottles up there. You remember seeing those?
I wasn't paying attention to the bottles.
Okay, did you look at those prescription bottles to see who that medication was for?
I don't believe I did.
Thank you, sir.
Any redirect?
No redirect, sir.
All right. Can this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
No objection by the defense, Your
Pretty
Honor.
much step down. You're now excused.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Alderman, call your next witness.
Here we call Deputy Pinto.
Okay, I think I'm going to let the next little bit play, but at the next break, it is going to have to be bedtime. But this feels like just I said it and then it was like 3 minutes, so I'll let it run a little longer.
All right, sir. Raise your right hand.
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, have a seat in the chair. Pull the chair as close to the microphone as you can. Speak into the microphone loud enough so that everybody can hear you, okay?
Yes, sir.
So would you please state your name for the record?
Felipe Pinto,
And where you're employed, sir?
Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been with the Sheriff's Office?
Going on 5 years.
And what are your duties there at the Sheriff's Office?
Right now, I'm a field training officer, but I'm a road deputy as well.
Now, were you on duty on September 8th of 2021?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you respond to a call that evening?
Yes, sir.
Where did you go?
To 6148 Jenks Drive.
Okay. Do you remember roughly what time you arrived at that location?
It's around 6:30-ish.
And did you proceed inside that residence?
Yes, sir.
Where did you initially go inside that residence?
The garage.
Okay. And what did you observe inside the garage?
Went under the garage door, wasn't fully open yet, and there was a deceased male subject laid on the floor.
Okay. And in terms of his, let's say, medical condition, was he beyond any kind of aid?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, at some point after that, did you observe a firearm inside the residence?
Yes, sir.
Where was that?
Behind a toaster in the kitchen. If you turn right, it was where the fridge is, I believe.
Okay. Now, when you're there on scene, were you wearing a body camera?
Yes, sir.
And was it recording?
Yes, sir.
And have you viewed the footage from your body cam? Is that an accurate copy of the scene as you witnessed it that day?
Yes, sir.
Now, this time I'd like to move State's Exhibit 110 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. State's Exhibit 110 will be admitted into evidence.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know, State would move to publish State Exhibit 110.
All right.
No objection, Your Honor.
Anybody else in there? Can we open this?
Eyes on the signal there. You're in the kitchen. Behind the toaster. Which is here.
Just shut the door on the plate.
It's it looks like it's in the holster.
Yeah.
But it's stuck behind the toaster next to for his avid toaster.
Okay. They need you to move your vehicle so this lady next door can get out. Okay. I appreciate you.
Only 1 to 6.
Yeah, I didn't move it behind the toaster.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir.
Go ahead. 1039 to unit 38. She's going to get her shift tag as fast as possible. 10-4, thank you.
Set behind a toaster. Toaster. Camera. Signal 0. Not touched.
Thank you, Judge. Deputy Pinto, did you have any involvement in the investigation of the case?
No, sir.
Right. Thank you, sir. Those are my questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Y'all didn't have any problem getting in or out of that garage, did you?
While it was open?
Yeah.
No, sir.
And the garage door opener worked, didn't it? I think it was Major Brigman, looked like to me. Hit the garage door open and it came up, didn't it?
That was Sergeant Clemens. Yes, sir.
Okay, Sergeant, what do you guys? But it worked, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You never spoke to Bree, did you?
No, sir.
Were you aware that she told Major Brinkman where that firearm was?
No, sir.
You ever ask him?
Nope.
Did you have any contact with Bree whatsoever
No, sir.
that day? And I believe that that was your voice in this body camera, which said 3 in the chest, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Can you redirect?
Deputy Pinto, Collin appeared to have holes in his chest when you saw him. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever roll him over to count how many holes he had in his back?
No.
Thanks.
All right, can this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
No objection by defense, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you may step down. You're now excused.
Thank you.
Okay. On that note, it is bedtime. Because if we start something, then it's going to be like a weird point to pause. I just want to see if I can redirect you to anyone. Quickly. Broken Baker, day 4, Toby Madden. Isn't that only tomorrow? Sorry, this always takes longer than I would want it to. Upcoming 9/26. Oh yeah, so that's tomorrow. We're probably going to have to, we're probably all going to have to float together because there's none coming up that are showing properly. So yeah. Sorry, Brett, we'll be back tomorrow though. We're gonna have to play catch up tomorrow because they are actually wrapping up day 2 and we are only halfway through day 1. So we're gonna have to make up some good time. But I will see everyone tomorrow. I hope that you have a good evening, wherever you are. If you're in the US, evening. If you're not, then good night, sleep tight. And if you're in Australia, probably good morning. All right. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.